This meeting is being recorded, says the Zoom. Hi, everybody. I'm back about. Had a few weeks of sorting out other things and pondering on life in general and on studying all this kind of work. Sometimes you just need to take a break and let it all ruminate inside one. And I noticed a few things going on in the outside world, which pressed a few buttons for me and made me have to rethink about morality and my conscience and things, which got me thinking too, well, maybe I should do a show on morality. And I wanted to start with this quote from Views from the Real World, page 247 in my version. If our conscience was open and pure, there would be no need to speak about morality. Because if we had our conscience open and pure, we would understand the different ways of being right and wrong and good and evil, and what we're doing is good morality, good for the morale of the peoples and ourselves, or if it was a negative trait that's causing trouble and strife and it doesn't ring true with the moral way, the moral path that we're trying to take here. But Gurdjieff has quite a different view maybe on what morality is, of what is real morality. Obviously we're trying to do genuine I and become real people. So he's got a few quotes here, and I'm going to start with All and Everything, page 135, if I can get some light. You have the normal presence of a free brain being, and within your presence there is intentionally implanted from without Oskianu, which is founded on a morality based solely on the commandments and indications of the uni being himself, and the most holy individuals near to him. So it's getting that Oskianu vibration going within us and making that energy work within us by doing this work. And I was just trying to find my notes on Oskianu. I'll have to do, well, I know I've done shows on that, perhaps with Joshua in the past, of how we are working on all these different energies within us and what the Oskianu is. And the morale we're trying to say, the moral way or trying to be, is what the uni being is, being his endlessness, the divine source, the God above all gods, the indefinable God that has given us the free will to go ahead and do whatever we want. And we should be following a moral path if we're trying to develop ourselves. The thing with free will is we can do whatever we want and ignore that moral, that conscience that's speaking to us in our ear or in our head and in our heart, telling us what is right, what is wrong. And he says in All and Everything, page 414, that fundamental being impulse, which is the main lever of objective morality, called organic shame. So we're trying to attain to objective morality. Subjective morality is when we're just doing it for ourselves. Objective morality is when we're connecting with the consciousness of the universe and joining in with the harmonious workings of how the universe works. And I've said before about good bacteria and bad bacteria. Do we want to be the good bacteria in this universe, or do we want to be the bad bacteria? And if we're being the good bacteria, then we need to follow a moral path. And he says in, this is from Meetings from Remarkable Men, page 73. Objective morality is established by life and by the commandments given us by the Lord God himself through his prophets, and it gradually becomes the basis for the formation of man of what is called conscience. I've done a show on conscience. You can look back on all that or whatever. But that's what all the great seers that came before were trying to teach us, to be awakened to our conscience so that we can be aware of the moral path that we're trying to follow. And he continues in the same quote, and it is by this conscience that objective morality in its turn is maintained. As for subjective morality, it is invented by man, is therefore a relative conception, differing for different people and different places, and depending upon the particular understanding of good and evil prevailing in the given period. You know, it's kind of like the laws in other countries. In your country, you've got a certain set of laws. You go to another country, they have a different set of laws. Well, coming from a being caught up with the, well, caught up, being part of the harmonious development of the whole universe and yourself, if you're in tune with the vibrations of his divine source, his endlessness, then you are following the moral laws. And if you're not, then you're following your own law, which could be leading you down the wrong path, you know. But when we're going down the wrong path, sometimes when we're doing things, we think we're doing things for the right, even though there might be a little niggling something going on in you telling you this isn't quite right what you're doing. I'm not explaining that very well, but in the terms of the magic and the occult, there's the left hand path and the right hand path, the path down to the dark forces where you take all the quick, and they say easy way, but it's not, because it takes you out of your moral zone and doesn't use too much conscience, but it's a quick way, but then you're developing unbalanced. Where if you take the right hand path and follow this and do this properly, it doesn't necessarily have to be a slower path, because everyone's development is different. There is no you know, time period for each section as you're going up your ladder to your to find your higher selves. And we're trying to follow the right path. Gurdjieff writes in Views from the Real World, page 76, such as we are, we cannot be moral because we are mechanical. Morality is relative, subjective, contradictory, and mechanical. It is the same with us. Physical man, emotional man, intellectual man, each has a different set of morals befitting his nature. But then when we've become harmonized and we've got everything balanced, we become in tune with the right vibrations that keep us on the objective moral path. So again, it's all down to work on ourselves and effort, you know, the usual, what I say in all these shows, work on yourself, put the effort in. And he continues in Views from the Real World. The objective feeling of morality is connected with certain general, orderly and immutable moral laws established over the centuries, in accordance both chemically and physically with human circumstances and nature, established objectively for all and connected with nature, or as it is said, with God. The subjective feeling of morality is when a man, on the basis of his own experience and his own personal qualities, his personal observations, a sense of justice entirely his own, and so on, forms a personal conception of morality on the basis of which he lives. Both the first and second feeling of morality are not only absent in people, but people even have no idea of them. So mechanical man is just going ahead, doing things his way, thinks he's doing the right thing, or she, man, woman, and not fitting in with the harmonious laws that are proceeding, that are going around in the universe. They're working outside of it, in the chaotic realm, I'm beginning to call it now, where we want to be in the harmonious realm. And he goes on in Views from the Real World, this is Gurdjieff, his morals are purely automatic, purely external. Just as he learns poetry by heart, so he learns morals. If a man is sincere with himself, he has to admit that neither children nor adults have any morals. Our morality is all theoretical and automatic. If we are sincere, we can see how bad we are. And this work, obviously, looking at ourselves, and it does get like that sometimes. You suddenly think, oh my God, I used to be like that, or I used to did this, and things from the past come up and you think, oh God, I handled that really badly. That's the past, and we've got to use our moral conscience now that we have, that we're developing through all this work, for our ongoing life, for the present moment, for now. You know, the past is the past. We can change it through magic, through sending back into the past the vibrations of true conscience and morality, to hopefully make one stop doing whatever one was doing that was wrong, to ease the pain. But this work is for us now, to develop ourselves now. We've still got the chance to become something good, a spiritual warrior, or whatever you want to call it, to go forward into the next life, or the, you know, when we die, maybe we've developed our Keshjan bodies so we can go on to the next stage. But it is like, well, it is an awakening, as Gurdjieff calls it. We need to wake up from our mechanical ways of being to become real eyes. And he says in Views from the Real World, you should forget about morality. Conversations about morality would now be simply empty talk, which I'm probably doing. I'm probably doing lots of empty talk in this little show. Inner morality is your aim, working on yourself. External morality is different everywhere. One should behave like others. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. This is external morality. For internal morality, a man must be able to do. And for this, he must have an eye. So it's all back to developing that eye that can gathers the deputy steward eye that gathers all the eyes together to put them into shape, get ready for when the real eye comes through and works, and then we're connected with true objective morality and our conscience, and everything should start flowing. We're going to do some In Search of the Miraculous, page 156 in my version. So Ouspensky's writing, there is no general morality. Morality consists of buffers. Morality is always and everywhere an artificial phenomenon. It consists of various taboos, that is, restrictions and various demands, sometimes sensible in their basis and sometimes having been created on a false basis, on a soil of superstition and false fears, which, you know, as you probably are aware, most people go around full of fear and full of superstition. Fear leads to the dark side, as Yoda reminds us in Star Wars. And superstitions create, well, you know what superstitions create. Again, it's empty talk with superstitions. There's no facts behind them, though some superstitions have an element of truth to them. But we need to look back into what these superstitions are really trying to tell us. What's the real message behind them? And he continues, many different crimes have been justified by Christian morality. Modern Europe has very little in common with Christian morality, no matter how we understand this morality. The idea of morality is connected with the idea of good and evil conduct. But the idea of good and evil is always different for different people, always subjective in man 1, 2, and 3. For a subjective man, evil is everything that is opposed to his desires or interests or to his conception of good, which is what mechanical man's doing, isn't he? He's going out into the universe, or she, into the universe, into the world rather, thinking for themselves to get what they need, what they want, what they desire. Where when we're doing objective morality, we're doing it for the universe and for ourselves as well, but so that we're in line, in tune with the divine source. And just one little quote from Mr. Knott. Morality can be subjective or objective. Objective morality is the same for all men everywhere. Subjective morality is different in different countries and at different periods. So you've got to figure out your morality for yourself, waken that conscience, waken yourselves, and let's go forward and be the spiritual warriors that we want to be. Praise be. Till next time.